You know I love pattern predictions. Hi, Matt Noyes, 1 Degree Outside, Weather Network, 1degreeoutside.com. Every Monday, Danielle and I love to give you this video. This looks out to the next 14 days because you can get the highs, the lows, the chance of precipitation on our Noyes 1 Degree Outside weather app. That's fine. But what we want to do is give you a little insight as to why the data looks the way it does, and maybe even more importantly, what might change. Because there's nothing more aggravating in an average weather app experience than seeing the numbers change as the days go by, and suddenly it's something it wasn't supposed to be originally, right? We don't want that to happen. If you're using our app, we want you to be understanding exactly what's going on. So one of the things we've looked at the last 2 weeks in this pattern predictions, we were waiting for this. High pressure, ridging, the jet stream riding to the north. And we talked about the fact over the last couple of weeks that when you get high pressure at the surface and at the jet stream level, that usually turns out warmer than anticipated. And boy, has that happened this time around. Talking about record warmth starting out the week. Well, that's going to ease. As a matter of fact, there's brand new air that does come here as we get to the end of the week. Notice by late this week, we start to see a little bit of a dip in the jet stream here. But at the same time, you're not getting into the real strong westerlies. You're not getting into the real strong storm steering winds. And you're certainly not getting into a long live shot of cold air or anything like that. So you'll get some chill that comes in at the end of the week. Then you get a little bit more pronounced trough or dip in the jet stream as we head to the upcoming weekend and early next week. That will be another shot of some meaningful chill. But what stands out to Danielle and I is the fact that this is, again, not long lived. The trough pulls out, and look what's in by the middle of next week along about Halloween. What do we have here? Another ridge of high pressure, another bump in the jet stream, another transition to what will be warmer air, what will likely be dry weather at the middle of next week, and what probably will be a warmer reality than what is predicted. So what we've been doing in our forecast is hedging warmer than what any guidance would indicate for the middle of next week. Now, it may not last super long, because what happens is you get this to kind of crest over us, this ridge, and then we start to drop the jet stream a little bit. We actually start to turn it northerly. You start to try and sneak in some cooler air both aloft and at the surface from the north and east. So you kind of start to pinch the warmth off a little bit. But still, by that point, what are you in? The beginning of November. So that's why we say right around Halloween, there should be mild air. It's probably going to be a mild Halloween overall. And by the end of the first week of November, we start to see some more meaningful changes in two places. First of all, we may start to get a strong enough disturbance to reshape the jet stream in the eastern United States by the time we get to, let's say, the 4th or 5th of November. But I think the more important thing here is actually what's going to be happening in Alaska. So if you watch pattern predictions regularly, last week I told you about how the cold was really been building in Siberia and the North Pole. And it really has mostly been on the Siberian side. Well, what starts to happen in early November, and I told you this might happen, right? We're starting to see signs the cold starts to build across Alaska. And it's pretty significant cold. If that happens, a lot of times what you'll end up getting in this type of a jet stream wave pattern, you get the dip across Alaska with the cold air there. You'll start to develop a ridge in the western United States. And as a response to that, you'll start to dig a trough. So does it happen on the 4th or 5th of November? Maybe not. Does it happen by the end of the first week of November? Probably. And does that open up a little bit longer lasting shot of cold that comes in? Yes. Do we think it'll be semi-permanent and last you into the winter? No, not yet. Not yet, because we're getting a chunk of the cold out of Siberia, but you're not seeing a bodily shift of that happening across the pole just yet. In terms of the surface temperature forecast and barometric pressure in the black lines here, look, you've got the one shot of chill that comes in at the end of this week. You've got the next shot of chill that comes in as we get to the end of the weekend and early next week as well. And then you play it out a little bit more beyond that. And here's that warmth trying to get in here for Halloween by the way it looks now. There's the colder air building up in Alaska, Western Canada. Some of it starts to come into the Western U.S., but again, likely gets cut off. So you can see how it builds up across much of Alaska by the end of that first week of November. Here at home, we're not in it yet. But again, the way the jet stream starts to shape up, you would think we would get at least a little bit more meaningful shot of cold in here sometime probably between the 7th and 12th of November by the way it looks now. We don't go that far out in the 14-day forecast, do we? We just go out to about November 4th. But nonetheless, you can see the ups and downs that go along with the jet stream that we looked at, but also there is our hedging toward a warmer forecast as we get toward Halloween, particularly there on the 30th, the day prior to Halloween. We're thinking mid-70s. You might do that on Halloween as well. It'll just have to do with the timing of the front and the wind direction. Low temperatures do the same kind of seesaw where you get mild nights for a while heading into the end of this week, much colder nights at the beginning of next week, and turn milder again as we head out toward Halloween time. And then when you look at the chance of showers, again, all of this is somewhat diminished because at no point did I show you anything that's a phasing of the jet stream, the northern energy with southern moisture. It's all just northern energy, which limits your chance of showers overall. Tropics, I think what we're going to be watching after Oscar continues to move off to the north and east, and we talked about Oscar and Insights, how we may get some waves around here. Also that Oscar may end up living a little bit longer than initially anticipated by the Hurricane Center because these storms do that this time of the year. But the other thing is, by the time we get to, let's say, next weekend, your best development zone is probably near Central America. And then we think that as we head into the following week, there's a chance that the Central Atlantic may develop something because there's a bit of a weakness in the pressure field developing out there at that point. But we don't think that that would come anywhere close to the eastern United States. Again, you can watch the numbers and see if all this thought process is right. Most of the time, I think you find we are giving you a little heads up on how things may be kind of evolving in the forecast, but grab the app. Best thing to do, right? Noyes 1 degree outside weather. You'll be able to monitor things both in the short term and the longer range. Hope you like this deeper dive into that kind of overall 14-day forecast and what makes it tick. A lot of folks say, you can't predict out to 14 days. Hopefully through these videos, you realize you absolutely can. You just can't expect to get things right to the hour 14 days out. That's how things look for now. Thanks for checking in. We'll see you at onedegreeoutside.com.